This is Graham Brown and Freddie Benjamin from Mobile Youth. Today we're talking about online, offline. And there's this interesting study, Freddie, which looks at instant messaging, young girls and their mothers, right? And it looks at how relationships can grow or be nurtured through technology and how they may not be nurtured or grow through technology. Um, Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the study that was conducted on these young girls.
Thank you, Graham. The study itself is very interesting. They picked up on what happens to young girls when they text or send messages over apps like BBM. So we all know that the common view in the media is that especially young teenage girls spend a lot of time on these on texting or the messaging apps, and to the point that media calls it that they're addicted to it. Now, the
Right.
study actually focused on what happens to their brains, and what it found out was that the chemical cortisol, which is associated with stress, it actually goes down when the daughters hear their mother's voice, that is in person, when they're actually communicating with
Right.
their mother in person. But the cortisol level stay pretty much the same when they're texting or sending messages over BBM.
Right. So basically, the interesting thing about that is it's kind of this is the impact of communication texting at the biological mechanical level, isn't it? Because this is sort of the cortisol level is the brain's response in the saliva, right? So it's kind of interesting. You can't fake this stuff. This is the actual nuts and bolts of feeling and emotion. So let me
Ex-
understand. So basically, you're saying that if young girls text each other and text their mothers, maybe about issues and so on, it doesn't really affect their feelings or their stress levels. But if they actually speak to them in person, it can have a major impact. What does that actually mean, though?
Well, um, I guess to summarize it all, this is really looking into why young people or young girls spend so much time texting, right? Does it really kind of like make them feel good? The answer is really no. What they are really looking for is that offline interaction with the other
Right.
person, whether it's their mothers or their friends or anyone else. Um, Technology or the mobile phone is just a means to achieve that offline interaction rather than kind of like replace it.
Right. Does that challenge this idea of the digital native, which kind of suggests that the digital native exists in this offline world and sorry, in this online world where they find all this meaning and communication and relationships happen in these virtual worlds?
It definitely does. Every day we see lots of studies done or lots of data being published on how much time young people spend on Facebook, how much time young people spend on their mobile phones, and how many apps they download, and whatnot. And it all goes to fuel the kind of myth that this generation of young people, they are very digitally inclined. Their lives are very digital. But in fact,
Mhm.
what they're really doing is they're trying to reclaim the lost offline social aspect of their lives. Because as we've developed, we've kind of like really given up on meeting people
Right.
face to face. And
We become lazy, right?
well, yeah, you could definitely say that. But it's it's sort of almost like there's been a decrease in say like number of social spaces for people to
Yeah.
meet other people and just their friends or meet new friends. And because of that, they've turned to digital media, whether that's Facebook or the mobile phone, to keep up with their friends and as well as try and figure out how they can reclaim that offline aspect back.
Right. And it was kind of interesting about this study, and this is a study of the University of Wisconsin Madison, and it basically found that the cortisol level, so that the stress level of these young girls was most reduced by physical touch. So
Hmm.
the real off-world analog stuff, right? So that's the stuff that digital mobile can't replace. And I guess it has profound implications if you're involved in technology because you think about creating apps, creating services, creating products for this market, but ultimately, you're creating a product which leads to this offline contact rather than replaces it, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so My name's Graham Brown with Freddie Benjamin. You've been listening to the Mobile Youth.